My name's Steve Cox. I have Neapolitan Mastiffs as a hobby. My show kennels is called Ravenley Mastini, and my kennels are based in Wisbech over in Norfolk. I've been involved in the breed for around 20 years. I show competitively in England and also overseas. I first got involved in the breed in the mid-80s when I had English Mastiffs. I saw a Neapolitan Mastiff. I was looking through a book and I'd never really seen anything quite like it, quite as exciting as this dog. Ever since then I've kept the breed. To date I have around 30 to 35 Neapolitans. Male and female Neapolitan Mastiffs are very different in size. Very similar to a male and a female lion. A lion and a lioness is a very good way of describing the two. Sometimes people can see a male Mastino next to a female and think maybe she's a puppy. There's a big difference in size there. The Neapolitan Mastiff comes in 4 different colours. The most popular colour is grey, which a lot of people refer to as blue, but it's grey, black, ash blonde and mahogany. Any of these colours, brindle is fully permissible, any amount of brindle. On the feet, a little bit of white is allowed on the toes, and a small blaze of white on the chest is okay. The Neapolitan Mastiff originates from the original war dogs of Rome. 3,000 to 5,000 years the Mastino and the Molosser breeds have been around, and from old artifacts and ancient history pieces that are in museums, we're able to piece back the history to this incredible breed. In 1946, the Neapolitan Mastiff almost died out because of the war, and it was recreated and saved by a handful of Italian enthusiasts in Naples, which is where the breed comes from. Mastino Napolitano is the correct name for the dog, and that's what the Neapolitans in Italy will call the dog. In England, the translation is Neapolitan Mastiff. The Neapolitan Mastiff is true, it has a bloodthirsty past, and it was originally trained and reared as a dog that will go into the gladiator arenas and take on anything. It's an enormous dog in its sheer presence at a glance. The Italians said that they deliberately created a dog that could stop an onlooker with one glance of this dog. So it's not surprising that they used this dog in the way they did in the past. The Neapolitan Mastiff at a glance is a massive, powerful dog. He should be well proportioned, strong and well muscled, and obviously free from any health ailments at all. Very, very important to remember when breeding dogs of this size and type. Type is important, but health is equally important, because without the two you don't have a dog at all. So health, eyes, ears, mouth, teeth, all those things are top of the list, but at the same time you've got to retain your breed type, otherwise you haven't got a Neapolitan Mastiff. To describe the dog to look at is a unusual animal. It's longer than it is tall. I mean, so basically if you look at a Bull Mastiff or a Rottweiler, they're more of a square looking dog. A Neapolitan Mastiff should be really 10% longer than it is tall. So you're looking at a dog with a shape more like a lion. It's very, very similar to a big cat. The Mastino is much more feline than it is canine. Sounds a strange thing to say, but it's got very, very unusual features if you look at the dog, which are similar to some of the big cats. One crazy myth was that thousands of years ago a lion and a dog mated and created the Mastino, but I'm quite sure that's just a story, you know. The Neapolitan Mastiff is a friendly, gentle giant today. The careful breeding and selective programs is very, very important, and we've managed to create a very friendly animal that no longer has the tendencies that the dog of its past had. Saying that, a Mastino is a guard dog, and he's a dog that can do his job, and he's a great defender of his home. He's no longer a dog that is needed to go into the arena, but certainly if somebody comes into your home and unwanted, he will bark and he'll let you know they're there. And he's not a dog that will bite, but he's certainly a dog that will stop somebody. Just looking at him is enough. Most people would walk away. Neapolitan Mastiffs can live in homes. They're a family dog. They're a big guarding dog, so you have to be careful. They're not a dog for everybody, of course. They're a dog that very few people really would warm to because of the size of them. They slobber a lot. They're clumsy. They knock things off with their tails quite easily. They jump up and they can take most things off your worktop in one go. But of course, once you own one of these dogs, you realise that they're a very gentle, beautiful dog. And for me, there's no other breed, of course. I'm biased. Having had the breed for sort of 20 to 25 years, you know, I love them, obviously. You actually get a mixed reaction from people. When you take the dog out, it draws a crowd immediately. I've never known anything like it. It's like celebrity status, just owning a dog, and that's not in a bad way, because it's great answering all the questions and talking, and you know, I'm passionate to this. The Neapolitan Mastiff is an affectionate dog. They are not a dog that like change at all. I'm very, very particular. When I'm breeding puppies and I want to find a home, it's far, far more important, the right home for the right dog. And often potential customers can feel a little put out. I ask so many questions. It starts with actually an initial form they have to fill in before I'll even have a conversation with them, just to see if they've got the right environment for the dog. Because it's not a dog that likes change. They are affectionate. They love the family. They love the home environment. They become very, very attached to people. Neapolitan Mastiffs are good with other animals. Any dog, you have to be careful, but they're no different to anything else. They're just big, so they can hurt other animals by sort of falling on them or overplaying, too rough and this sort of thing. But there's certainly no extra aggression or anything like it. Male dogs can be dominant, but as can many other breeds. You have to be careful. I've had situations where somebody's bought a male puppy and they want another male puppy. Well, it's not a good idea, because two males, you know, generally don't get on. Once they get to about 18 months, one of them wants to be the alpha dog, and then, you know, you're far better off having a female and avoiding the problem. They're not particularly noisy at all. They don't bark senselessly, and they don't bark for no reason. You know, they'll only bark when someone's out there. The Neapolitans love company, and they don't like to be solitary animals at all. They become very withdrawn. They love being around people, being around other dogs. We keep all of ours in 2s or 3s. They can all see each other through the fences. They've always got to have a playmate around all the time, and you know, it's like us, you know, we wouldn't want to be on our own. They're exactly the same. With the Neapolitan, it doesn't need walking continuously. He loves walking, of course. Freedom is what the dog needs, to be able to plod around his own garden and his own grounds. Not forced exercise. In fact, when they're puppies, it's very important to remember that a dog with bones that grow as quick as the Neapolitan, over-exercising at a young age can cause big problems at a later age. So gentle exercise as a puppy, gradually increasing to full exercise as much as the dog wants. But if you're into hiking and this sort of thing, that's not the dog for you, because he'll be laying down after about half a mile. He's an intelligent dog, but he's a dog that will do it when he wants. So sometimes can appear quite ignorant and stubborn. They've got good hearing, they've got good eyesight, but sometimes they don't hear and they don't see because it suits them. But they are clever. They can learn. In fact, a couple of my dogs were in the Harry Potter films, and they were trained. I couldn't believe it when I went to watch the training. Because initially I thought, well, they're never going to do this. You know, they wanted 3 of my dogs to play one dog, Fang, in the film. And when the lady, the trainer, told me what was expected of the Neapolitan, I laughed. And she said, well, look, we'll keep them for 3 months and see how we get on. After 3 months, she said, otherwise you can have them all back and forget it, we'll use a different breed, you know. And after 3 months, they were trained from a distance to do everything, you know, as good as a German Shepherd or a dog that you would expect it from. That was sort of 12, 13 years ago. When I saw a professional trainer train a Neapolitan, I realised just what you can get the dog to do, and they absolutely loved it. They love playing with toys, footballs, squeaky toys, cuddly toys, everything really. Tyres are good for the big adults. You have to be a bit careful because they can break their teeth like any other dog, because they start really chewing into a great big car tyre. And I used to have a huge dog years and years ago called Vito. He was a dog I imported from Italy, and he used to actually pick a tyre up, throw it over his head, and then walk around with the tyre on his neck. But I noticed that he cracked one of his teeth in doing it because they're so strong, the jaw pressure is so immense that they don't realise their own strength, you know. Neapolitans don't need much grooming at all. They're nice and short furred, so really with a short brush, they're very easy dog to look after. The folds on the skin obviously make sure everything's nice and clean all the time. Bath them when they need bathing. They love it, no problem at all. I haven't met a Neapolitan that doesn't enjoy getting into a bath and getting soaped up and everything else, that's fine. But the things you have to watch obviously is because of the construction of the head and the wrinkles, just make sure that everything is washed properly and dried off afterwards as well. Neapolitans don't molt very much, in fact hardly at all. The coat changes twice a year, but it's a very fine coat and you don't seem to notice it. If you brush them out regularly, you keep on top of it, and because the fur is so short, it's something that you really don't notice. As with all dogs, every breed has its own list of medical problems, if you like, but it's no different, no more or no less than any other breed. It's a very strong breed. It's a breed that we've got very strong blood, and gene pool is very good in England because so many dogs have been imported from various parts of the world to improve the gene pool. So the better the gene pool, the better the new blood, the better and stronger and healthier dog that you'll have. The idea is not to overbreed for too heavy type. Many mistakes have been made in the past. That's certainly not the way forward, and certainly for the last decade, breeders like myself have been working with the Kennel Club to improve dramatically the health and general appearance of the Neapolitan and make sure that the dog is fit for function, can do what it was meant to do, can run, can look, can see clearly without entropion, ectropion, these sort of things we don't need at all. So neither does the dog, obviously. So we're onto that all the time. And health issues with the dog, gastric torsion is bloat, is a condition that dogs with deep chests and long bodies, it can kill them. And it's where a stomach can get a build-up of gas and actually twist, often after a feed or if the dog's exercised. There's no exact reason why it happens, but it's horrible. That can happen. You have to rush the dog to the vet very, very quickly and get this seen to straight away. There's no other way of dealing with it. So that's gastric torsion, in brackets bloat, it's known as, is one thing that Neapolitans get, but so do many other breeds. Heart conditions, all big dogs, because of the weight of the dog and the construction of the dog, there's more pressure on the heart. So that's why it's so important to breed healthy dogs. For the longevity of the dog is very important. Nobody wants a dog for 2 or 3 years, we want a dog for 8 to 10 years. With the eyes of the Neapolitan, it's important to have them free from many problems, really. Ectropion and entropion are problems that are common in dogs generally. With the Neapolitan Mastiff and the construction of the head, you have a little bit of haw, which is the red underneath the eye that always will show. More so on some dogs, less on other dogs, of course. This can be called ectropion, it can be called haw. Now, providing that the ectropion or the haw isn't affecting the dog's health, which it shouldn't do, you haven't got a problem. If it's affecting the dog's health, well, obviously you shouldn't breed with that dog, and you've got a problem, and you've got to get it seen to by a vet. Cancer is another killer of some dogs, and Neapolitans are no exception to that as well. Occasionally you can lose a dog from bone cancer or something like that, but no more or no less than any other breed. So there's no particular health issue that can shorten the life or kill the Neapolitan Mastiff. Yes, it can get bloat. Yes, it can die of heart disease of some form, but so can any other dog. And of course, it can get cancer or something else. But in 20 to 25 years of keeping the breed, I've not had any extremes in any cases ever. If somebody comes up to me and says, look, I love your dog, I've got to have one. Thank you very much for the compliment. You don't know how much work's involved. So really, you should stop, think, come to the shows, go to Crufts, come to the club show. We have a Neapolitan Mastiff club in the UK, which is our breed club, where you can see all the dogs, all the breeders, talk to the people, read books, get as much information as you can, because it isn't a dog for everybody. There's plenty of people who would love a Neapolitan Mastiff, and the Neapolitan will certainly love you. Check with the Kennel Club, ask who are assured breeders, talk to the Neapolitan Mastiff Club, find out as much as you can. Don't buy a puppy if you don't see both parents. Don't just buy the first puppy you see. You want to see them interacting with people. You want as much information as you possibly can. Don't buy one just because it's convenient and it's up the road and it was in a local paper. Widen your scope, drive hundreds of miles if you have to, but get the right dog and spend as much time as you can looking.